possible point is there now. They had 17 points to 0 on the board. He's done a good job for his team today of keeping them firing. He's still directing traffic out there. Watch him. Still keeping them concentrated. Come on, he says. We've won it 77. Keep it cool.
Steve Edgell, you're the Grand Master of Grand Finals, and these were all played in an era of the pantheon of all the all-time greats, really, but you keep it so low-key. Is that always your style?
I try and keep everything low-key. I really, really do. I just realise exactly how lucky I have been to be able to have played in so many grand finals and played with so many great players and played against so many great players. And just wonderful.
Born in Cogra Hospital, grew up in and around the area, so you were brought up on a very healthy and steady appetite of premierships. The St George team of that era, you mention lucky, did you feel like the luckiest little boy in the world?
Oh, absolutely. It was the only downside, of course, is they only played 4 games at Cogra during the year because the rest of the time they're at the home ground, at the cricket ground. The best part, of course, at the end of the game, you'd be able to jump the fence and race out and get autographs, and they're just, I mean, they're absolute idols, those guys. And I remember Norm Provan, he'd be standing there and he'd sign every single autograph, and he's sweating, and he's, you know, just a wonderful man.
These were your heroes, and then
Absolutely,
they would become your friends, which is, as if you had been able to tell a young Steve Edge as a boy, these men that you're idolising, they're going to talk to you as a fellow captain, as a fellow leader, as a fellow Red V. That's an incredible journey.
There's one photo that I do treasure, and it was after we won the 77 grand final, and Changa and Johnny Raper, they've lifted me up. They're like this, and there's a photo of them holding me in the air and me smiling and thinking, how good is this? You know, it's just...
As they should celebrate you. Going back to that childhood and being a St George fan, what were some of your best memories of the Sheridan stand at the SCG?
Well, Sheridan stand, I think I sold my seat in the Sheridan stand when South played the Dragons, you know, with the record 78,000 people. And I was still able to... I said, but I'll sell my seat here. I said, but I'm going to sit on the back of the seat. And that's exactly what I did do.
These immortals and champions of the Red V, they're responsible for your love and respect for the game. Would you ever have thought that your path would follow in their footsteps?
Well, you always dream. I actually had 3 years out of football because my father was a very good bicycle rider. He was a sprinter and all that type of stuff, and I actually almost made the Olympic Games. Only one thing stopped me from going there, and that was ability. I had none. So I got to be the slowest bike rider of all time, but I had to have a go at it, you know. So I had 3 years off the footy, and I think that was really good for me. I just happened to wander down and see some of my mates play down at Scarborough Park one afternoon, and I thought, I'm going to have a shot back at this. I miss this. I miss this. So I got back onto that, and then it just, you know, just... The
success of the Dragons, and it made in those early years, and it made the Red V one of the most respected and recognised emblems in the sporting world. What was that moment like when you first were able to pull on your red and white jumper?
I got this ego thing, you know. I grabbed the jumper. I was in the dressing room at Cogra Oval, and they had this great big Tui's mirror. I put it on, and I raced into where the mirror is just to have a look, and then I started to feel myself think, how lucky are you? And never forget it. Never forget it. Loved it.
Because what was staring back at you? Something you'd always dreamed of?
This was edgy. You know, that little... with a Red V.
Your first game against Balmain at Leichhardt Oval. Graham Langlands is your captain coach. Any words of wisdom?
As a matter of fact, I remember it vividly. We were at Leichhardt Oval in those days. It faced the other way, so you'd be looking into the sun, directly into the sun coming. I held my own really, really well, which was pretty amazing. I had a lot of help. I had Billy Smith feeding the scrums, and anyway, the ball got dropped, and I kicked it, and I kicked it about 40 metres. The fullback picked the ball up. I tackled him. Down he went. The crowd cheered. I got up. If you ever do that again, you'll be straight off. And there's a few other adjectives involved. There was Chang. And I, yes, Mr. Langlands. And I started going back, and Billy came up and tapped me on the bum. He said, Edgy, he does that to everyone. He said, don't worry about it, you're going great. So.
What about Billy Smith? What did he imprint on you about being professional and making sure that you did everything in your control to make sure that you were
Johnny
ready?
Pearce, they, for some reason, when I first came up, they took a liking to me. They taught me how to train. They were the ones who pushed me through the pain barrier. So we used to, in those days, we used to do 10K runs and all this type of stuff, and they'd sort of say, I'd start to drop back, and they'd say, no, Edgy, stay up here with me, stay up here, you've got about another 20, 30 seconds. He said, you'll go through this and you'll pick up your second wind. He said, away you go. And they both said, and by the way, to make it in this game, you have to be the best trainer in the whole club. And I never, ever forgot that.
That's incredible advice. And then by the time 75, you're into your first grand final. Roosters, they've got Ronnie Coote, Arthur Beetson.
The toss will take place. And Beetson's taken first use of the breeze.
Astonishing. Were you a little overawed?
I think, well, you're nervous before any grand final. It's like when someone says, what's the best grand final? Doesn't matter, mate. You're I don't care who you are. I said, you're got butterflies and you're going around here like this. Once it's kicked off, away you go. Yeah. You just go on to another. You don't worry about anything else. You can't.
What did you learn out of that final?
Well, we were going pretty good. It was 5-0 or something just before half time, and and we were a bit unlucky not to have scored a couple of tries early, and we were going pretty well, and then they sort of found out that Chang had white boots on and couldn't run.
Yeah.
And once they found that, they just kept going bang straight down that side. And it's like in our game, if you get a momentum going, it's very difficult to stop. And, they're racing through, and Beetson there. I remember there were 3 of us on Beetson who got him going down. I think they haven't copped that Beetson. Then I looked up and Fairfax is in under the post because he's flicked one out the back, and they just run on.
Beetson. Well, he did well to hold that. It went halfway down his leg. Oh, and he got the pass under Fairfax, and Fairfax has scored.
So we all walk into the dressing room. We're down in the dumps. Every single one. Every single one of us just really, really feeling very low and heads down and all that. Billy comes in and he says, hey, we finished second. All right, we got beat by a better side on today. Let's go out, we've had a great season. Let's go. There's another 10 teams are way behind you, and so don't worry about it. And we did. I think we had a fantastic night, they tell me.
Great perspective.
It was.
Great perspective.
But that's Billy. That's why Billy was so good to a team. He's so full of team spirit.
The next year, Graham Langlands retires, and they're looking for a new captain. How honoured were you that they chose you?
Just kept getting better and better and better. I'm trying to think, how much better can this game get? Kenny Carney, Ian Walsh. You just shake your head. Graham Langlands, Norm Proven, and think, shit, I'm one of them.
What was it about you? What was it about your style or your leadership approach? What was it about you that made you so suitable?
I really don't know. I honestly don't know.
By 77, the great Harry Bath arrives. What impact did he have on your playing style? What was his coaching philosophy? And
well, Harry was very, very good. He was very much a forwards coach, like concentrate on the forwards, and you backs just wander. Go and kick the ball out the back there like that. Harry is very down to earth, old school, easy to get on with, and I found him very, very good.
Holding up the Giltinan Shield for the 3rd year in a row.
Now, you said you're the luckiest man in the world, and you also get a call up for the very first State of Origin. And this is something that's gone down in rugby league folklore. So You're into Lang Park.
Yep.
Arthur Beetson, he's got this Queensland team all dialed up. And we know that the mate versus mate thing was Beetson and Cronin. But Artie came for you first.
Yeah, well, a couple of things with Arthur. We're on a trip away, right? This would have been 1980, I think it was, up in Queensland. I'm waiting out I've got my bags ready to go upstairs. The lift door opens. The next thing, I got my face up against the wall. Boom. Beetson had just come straight in. Boom! Edgy! How you going? Pretty good, you know. So that's the type of guy, because he was just a wonderful, he's just a terrific guy. And him and Jack got on really, really well and all that type of stuff. And he played golf with Jack, because Jack was a mad golfer, and Beetson had a terrible day playing golf, you know. And he blew up. He said, I'm at it. I'm not going to play golf ever again, you know. So Massey puts this ad in the paper. Set of ping golf clubs used once, $200. Ring here. and then, of course, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Massey rings Beetson. They're sold.
Because Artie was playing reserve grade for Parramatta at this time, but by the time Origin really came to fruition. And was it true, did New South Wales not take it seriously? Was Tommy not, you know, full of venom like we would?
There were 3 reasons why it was fair dinkum.
Yes.
All right. Number 1, you're playing for New South Wales. You pull on a blue jumper or you pull on a maroon jumper or whatever. Hey, you're not going to pretend. Number 2, you're playing against your mates. And I tell you, if they get over the top of you, they're going to live with that for the rest of your life, like 40 years later, you know. Rocket. Hey, Rocket, how are you? I'm going good. Gee, he said, did you play in that 1980? You know, I mean, and of course, the third thing was Tommy Raudonikis was playing. So there's no way in the world that he's not going to be fair dinkum, because Tommy was quite out there when he got onto a football field. That first scrum, because they talk about the first scrum and about Cronin getting belted and all this stuff. I'm the first one who got belted.
So you're locking down in the middle of this scrum?
In the first scrum, I was halfway down and I'm thinking, I'm just waiting, because I knew it was going to happen. And I'm looking over here and there's Tommy Raudonikis and Greg Oliphant, and they're just about to... Tommy's just about to go kaboom here like that, and the next thing is kaboom comes through in here like that. I saw it coming, I went this way, and then there's Bobby Cooper and him and Morris are going head and Beetson, he's picked out someone else, and Rocket's there, and they're in it, and it's just a full-on brawl, you know, and of course in here, I'm sitting, what am I going to do here? You know, so and then I saw Johnny Lang in front of me. I bear hugged him. Absolutely bear hugged him and just hung on for dear life, you know. And then I hear this voice, Edgy. I said, who's that? He said, it's me, Langy. I said, yeah, what do you want? He said, fall over, we'll roll over against the fence, we'll watch the stink together. And I said, not a problem. Yeah, this stink's going on, you think it can't get any worse. And then you see 250 kilos of rippling muscle come running in from the centres in Malmaninga and Chris Place, and you think, oh, I love this game.
And loads to Meninga. Nicely to Close. Close accelerates and does beautifully right through the gap. He's beaten Edie Pointless. It's under the post for him. Onto the right.
You mentioned Ken Carney. Killer was his nickname. Noel Kelly, 15 send-offs, 16 broken noses. Benny Elias, always the dastardly deeds. Cam Smith, can you see where I'm going with this? What's the dark arts of being a dummy half?
The dummy half part's fine, and if you're a skipper, it's even better, because then you just offload it, just like, yeah, I'll do this off there. But
so what makes a good hooker? You've obviously fiercely competitive.
Got to be the best trainer in the whole club. That's what you've got to be.
Smart.
Yep.
Anticipate. Do you read people well?
You got to run it, but you can't be over... If you're the skipper, you can't over try and do all the instructions. You've got to let this is something... You just learn, you know, with you've got guys like Billy Smith and running the team. So, and even if you're skipper, which I had been, or you got Peter Sterling there, or you got Mark Schulman there, or you got Stevie Morris there. They're good at what they're doing, or other players. So you let them go.
Steve Edge, you're the captain's captain, the grand final maestro, and still one of the biggest rugby league fans that we have in the game.
Absolutely.